They tell you to be the bigger man. They tell you to think of the kids and keep it civil. Your friends, your family, even your own therapist, they all feed you the same line. Divorce is just a sad logistical ending. It's paperwork. It's two adults maturely parting ways. But that's a lie. That advice is the tranquilizer they give you before the amputation begins. While you're busy trying to be noble, the reality of the modern divorce system is busy calculating exactly how much of your life, your future, and your identity it can legally extract from you. You're being told to just smile while you're walking into a meticulously prepared ambush. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to recognize the playbook, counter the attacks, and build a firewall around your future. The first myth you have to burn out of your mind is that this is a fair fight. You're conditioned to believe in justice in 50-50, in the idea that if you're a good, reasonable guy, the system will treat you fairly. This fantasy is the single most dangerous weapon being used against you. You think you're in a relationship counseling session. You're actually in a hostile acquisition. While you're reminiscing about the good times and trying to understand her feelings, her lawyer is drafting discovery requests designed to weaponize every financial mistake you've ever made, every angry text you ever sent, and every dollar you ever earned. Your reasonableness is seen as weakness. Your generosity is seen as a starting offer to be negotiated up. You're not her husband anymore. You're a line item on a balance sheet, a resource to be optimized. You're sitting there thinking, how can we make this painless? While the person across from you is thinking, how can I secure the house, the savings, and 70% of your paycheck for the next decade? You're bringing your shared memories to the table. She's bringing a forensic accountant and a list of non-negotiable demands. You think you can appeal to her good side. You believe that the woman you loved, the mother of your children, is still in there somewhere, buried under the anger and the legal advice. So you try to talk. You look for the why. You send the long, heartfelt texts. You ask to meet for coffee, just to understand, because your mind can't process how the person you built a life with could become this cold, strategic opponent overnight. You're looking for closure. You're looking for reason. You're looking for the person you married, and she is collecting evidence. Every desperate plea is a screenshot. Every flash of your anger, your justifiable human anger at seeing your life dismantled, is a data point. Your passion is reframed as aggression. Your heartbreak is documented as instability. You're not talking to her, you're testifying against yourself. You're handing her the exact material she needs to file for an emergency order, to paint you as the villain, to justify taking the house, the kids, and your future. You're playing checkers with your heart while she's playing 3D chess with the family court system. She's not your partner in sadness. She's the protagonist in her own victim story, and you have just been cast as the bad guy. This isn't an accident. This isn't just how she's handling it. This is the playbook. It's a strategy, refined and passed down, designed to do one thing: secure the bag and win the narrative. And it almost always begins with the same devastating move: the Pre-Emptive Strike. This is where she secures the ground before the war is even declared. While you're still trying to work on things or just sensing that something is off, she's been busy. She's been quietly moving money. She's been talking to the best, most ruthless lawyer she can find, probably one your own money is paying for. She's been poisoning the well with your friends, your family, and even your family, painting a picture of your neglect, your anger, or your distance, long before you even knew there was a problem. By the time you're finally served, or she breaks the news, you're not starting at the 50-yard line. You're starting in your own end zone, with no helmet, and the entire opposing team is already charging at you. You're stunned. You're in shock, and that shock is precisely the point. Your shock is her leverage. While you're reeling, trying to get your bearings, the second wave of the assault begins, the financial bleed. This is where the system itself is turned against you. You will be introduced to a concept called the temporary order. It sounds harmless. It sounds temporary. It is the financial kill shot. This order, often granted ex parte, meaning you're not even there to defend yourself, will dictate that you must move out of your own home, you must continue to pay all the bills for that home, and you must pay her temporary alimony and child support, plus her legal fees. You're now funding both sides of the war. Your income, the money you bleed for every day at work, is now the primary resource for your own destruction. You will write a check to your lawyer for a $20,000 retainer, and then you will be ordered to write another check to her lawyer, who is actively working to leave you with nothing. It's a strategy of financial attrition. The goal is to drain you, to make you so desperate and so broke that you will sign anything just to make the bleeding stop. You're trying to figure out how to pay for a tiny apartment and your own groceries while your paycheck is vacuumed up to maintain the lifestyle of the person who just detonated your life. This financial pressure is designed to break your will. It's psychological warfare, and it's brutally effective. Because while you're hemorrhaging cash and sinking into debt, the third front opens up: the character assassination. You see, it's not enough to take your money. The playbook demands that she must also be the victim to justify it. This is where every argument you ever had, every time you raised your voice, every private moment of frustration is repackaged and presented as a pattern of abuse. You're not just a guy who is sad and angry about his divorce. You are unstable, aggressive, and a potential threat. Suddenly your friends get quiet. They give you that look, the one that says, "We heard her side of the story." Your in-laws, who treated you like a son for 20 years, now look at you like you're a monster. The playbook requires a villain, and you have been elected. This narrative isn't just for social points. It's a legal strategy. It's laid as the groundwork to restrict your access to your own children. She fears for their safety. She worries about your state of mind. And just like that, the system puts up a wall between you and the only thing you have left to fight for. You're now, in the eyes of the court, a paycheck to be garnished and a danger to be managed. And this is where the knife really goes in. Because the children, they are the final and most powerful lever in the playbook. They are no longer your children, they are her primary asset. You have been financially drained and morally painted as the villain precisely so. This move will land with maximum impact. You will be told it's in their best interest to have stability, which by a stunning coincidence always means being with her in the house you're still paying for. You will be relegated to visitation. You become the every other weekend dad. You will show up to a neutral drop-off point, a fast food parking lot, to have your own child handed to you like a rental car for 48 hours. And you will feel the slow, sickening creep of parental alienation. It's subtle at first. Mummy says you don't love us anymore. Mummy's sad because you left. We can't, Daddy. Mummy says you didn't pay the bill. You're watching in real time as your own children are taught to see you as a failure, as a threat, or as an ATM. And you are powerless. If you fight, you're creating conflict and putting them in the middle. If you don't fight, you are an absentee father. If you try to spoil them in your limited time, you are undermining her authority. If you try to maintain discipline, you're too harsh, and they don't want to go back. The system is designed to favour the primary caregiver, a status she secured the moment you were kicked out of the house by that temporary order. She holds all the cards. She knows you will empty your bank account, sell your car, and leverage your entire future for just one more hour with them. She knows you will burn the world down for your kids. And that's exactly why she's holding the match. This is the end game. You're not just being divorced, you're being replaced, you're being erased. And as you sit there in your empty, overpriced one-bedroom apartment staring at the wall, the silence is deafening. You've lost your home, you've lost your savings, you're losing your children, and the only person who calls you is your lawyer, telling you how much you owe him for the privilege of losing. This is the point where most men break. This despair is a feature, not a bug. It's what the system is designed to induce. It wants you broken. It wants you compliant. It wants you to roll over and accept the narrative that you are a failed man who deserves to lose everything. And right here, at the absolute bottom, where the silence of your empty apartment is louder than a gunshot, you have your first real choice. Not the fake choices they gave you in mediation, not the choice to sign away your life, but the one true choice you have left. You can either be the victim they've painted you as, or you can become the man this process requires you to be. This is not a legal problem anymore. It's a survival problem, and the first rule of survival is to accept the reality of your situation. Your marriage is not over. It is a failed business partnership that is being liquidated, and the other party is trying to strip you of all your assets. You must stop grieving the loss of your wife. The woman you married is gone. The person you are dealing with is an adversary. This is the most painful, most brutal, and most necessary truth you will ever accept. You must grieve that loss on your own time in private, but you must never let that grief inform your strategy. From this moment forward, you operate on logic, not emotion. You must go grey rock. This is your new religion. You become the most boring, uninteresting, and unresponsive man alive. Your texts are not emotional, they are logistical. Yes, no, Undren. Please forward all communication through my legal counsel. You do not justify, you do not explain, you do not argue. Every attempt she makes to get a rise out of you, to just talk, to bait you into an angry outburst is a trap. You don't fall for it. You're a cold, efficient, information-based entity. You give her nothing. No anger, no sadness, no nostalgia. Your emotional energy is a resource she's trying to mine to use against you. You must cut off her supply completely. You're building a firewall, and the first brick is emotional detachment. Your heart is now a black box and she no longer has the key. While you're building this wall of emotional silence, you begin your real work. You're no longer a husband. You're a forensic investigator. You're the auditor of your own life. You must become the most meticulous, organized, and ruthless record keeper you have ever been. You buy a new locked file cabinet. You buy a dedicated hard drive. You create a new private email account, and you document everything. Every single interaction. Every text message is screenshotted and backed up. Every email is printed. Every financial statement. Every tax return. Every pay stub. Every receipt for the kids' shoes for the last 5 years. You keep a journal, not an emotional diary, but a logbook. Spoke to her at 5:15 p.m. She stated X, I replied Y. Dropped kids off at 6 p.m. She was 15 minutes late. You're no longer building a relationship, you're building a case. This isn't about getting her back. This is about defending your life against the narrative she is spinning. Her entire strategy is built on emotional claims, on he said, she said, on feelings and accusations. Your counter-strategy is built on one thing, inarguable, documented, time-stamped fact. When she says you're unstable, you produce a log of 100 calm, factual, one-word text replies. When she says you never supported her, you produce the bank transfers. When she claims you're an absentee father, you produce the calendar you kept, marking every single time you showed up and every time she was late or denied you access. You're not arguing with her. You're providing data to your lawyer. You're making yourself the most credible, most reliable, and most dangerously organized person in that courtroom. You're taking back control, not by yelling, but by building a fortress of facts that her emotional narrative cannot penetrate. She is playing on a field of opinion. You're changing the game to a field of evidence. This meticulous, cold, logical strategy will be the hardest thing you ever do. It will feel unnatural. It will feel petty. You will want to scream, to give in, to just talk it out. But you won't. Because at the same time you're building your case, you're rebuilding your body. You take every ounce of that white-hot rage, that deep, gut-wrenching despair, and you take it to the gym. You get a new uniform, headphones, and a hoodie. You declare war on the iron. You're not working out, you're reforging. That pain you feel in your chest, you will move it to your muscles. You will tear down your body every single day just so you can build it back up stronger. This is not about vanity. It's not about getting a revenge body. It is about discipline. It is about proving to yourself every single day that you can take the pain, that you can endure. It's about channeling your destructive, chaotic energy into an act of creation. You will eat clean, not because you want to, but because it is an act of control. You will sleep, not because you are at peace, but because it is a strategic necessity for recovery. You will look in the mirror one day, 6 months from now, and you will not recognize the tired, broken, hollowed-out man who stared back at you. You will see a man who is focused, a man who is dangerous, a man who has taken the worst thing that has ever happened to him and has turned it into fuel. This new man, the one you are forging in the gym and in your logbooks, has to have a purpose beyond just surviving the divorce. Survival is the baseline. We are aiming for victory. But victory in this war does not look like what you think. There is no glorious courtroom moment where the judge sees the truth and declares you the winner. That is a Hollywood fantasy. The real legal win is simply a controlled demolition. It is you, calm and logical, signing a piece of paper that gives you the best possible deal you can get, cutting the financial cord as cleanly as possible, and walking out of that courtroom not as a winner, but as a survivor who is finally free. Your victory is not in beating her. Your victory is in making her, and this entire process utterly irrelevant to your future. To do that, you need a new mission, and it must be your mission, not a mission to find a new woman, not a mission to prove her wrong. Those are still traps. Those still make her the center of your universe. Your mission must be something so big, so consuming, that it leaves no room for her. It is your work. It is your business. It is your craft. You will take all that obsessive energy you use to pour into your relationship and pour it into building your empire. You will become relentless in your professional life. While she's spending your alimony checks, you are stacking new bricks. You're not just going to work, you are building. You are building financial independence so profound that no one can ever touch you again. You're building a new identity, one that is not her husband or her ex-husband, but the man who built X, the man who mastered all. This mission becomes your new North Star. It's the reason you get out of bed. It's the reason you eat clean. It's the reason you go to the gym. It's the reason you don't have time for petty drama. You're not just rebuilding your life, you're upgrading it. This mission, this newfound obsession with your own excellence, is what finally starves her of her power. Her power was always rooted in your emotional reaction, your anger, your despair, your need for her validation. That was her fuel. But a man who is obsessed with his mission, a man who is building a fortress of physical, mental, and financial strength, has no energy left for her. He doesn't have time to check her social media. He doesn't have time to reread old texts. He doesn't have time for bitterness. Bitterness is a luxury for men with nothing better to do. Your energy is now a high-value asset, and you invest it only in things that provide a return: your work, your body, and your mind. This is where you truly internalize the difference between pain and suffering. The divorce is pain. It's a clean, external wound. Suffering is what happens when you choose to keep reopening that wound, when you let it fester, when you build your new identity around that pain. You will not suffer. You will use the pain as a tool, as a whetstone to sharpen yourself into something you could never have been when you were comfortable and safe in your old life. This is the part of the journey where you realize the truth about your friends. You'll see them vaporize. The couples you used to have dinner with? Gone. They have to choose a side, and they'll always choose the perceived victim, the one who controls the social narrative. Let them go. This is a controlled burn. The fire is clearing out all the dead wood in your life. The isolation is not a curse. It is a filter. It's a gift. It removes everyone who was never truly loyal to you. In that silence, you will find a new tribe. You will seek out other men who are also on a mission. Men who talk about business, about training, about building, not about complaining and what she did to me. You will build a brotherhood, not on the foundation of shared misery, but on the foundation of shared ambition. This is your new inner circle, and it is stronger than any bond you ever had before because it is built on respect, not just convenience. And only then, long after you have rebuilt your body, your mind, your bank account, and your brotherhood, will you even think about women again. But you will not be dating. You will be vetting. You're no longer a man seeking a missing half. You're a whole, complete, dangerous man looking for someone who is worthy of entering the fortress you have built. You will be so hypersensitive to red flags that you can smell them a mile away. You will see the victim mentality, the entitlement, the lack of accountability, and you will feel nothing but boredom. You will not be driven by loneliness or by need. You will be driven by standards. You will have learned, in the most brutal way possible, that the price of admission into your life is non-negotiable, because you now know the catastrophic cost of getting it wrong. The man who exits this fire is not the same man who entered it. The man who entered was a husband. The man who exits is a king. The last raw truth you need to choke down is this. The goal of the modern divorce playbook is not just to financially ruin you, it is to sever you from your own self-worth. It tells you that you are dispensable, that your fatherhood is a part-time job, and that your life's effort is just a resource to be siphoned off. But you countered their moves. When they tried to make you emotional, you went logical. When they tried to make you passive, you went aggressive on your mission. When they tried to leave you hollowed out, you built a new architecture of discipline and competence. You turned their most destructive weapon, the systemic dismantling of your life, into the single greatest catalyst for your self-improvement. She may have initiated the process, but you controlled the outcome of your soul. Never forget that. The man who walks away from a modern divorce with his dignity, his discipline, and a clear path to rebuilding his legacy is not a victim. He is a predator who survived the trap and now understands the entire layout of the jungle. The system will tell you that you are a failure. You must look back at the wreckage and see the forge. The truth is, the system tried to destroy a man and instead, it unintentionally created a better one. You're not defined by the judgment on the final decree. You're defined by the unwavering strength it took to sign it and walk away with your head held high, ready to build a life so profoundly excellent that her memory and the entire painful process shrinks to a footnote in your own epic biography. You survived the ambush. You learned the playbook. Now you write the next chapter on your own terms. The lie they sell is that divorce is an ending. The reality is that for the man who counters the playbook, it is a savage, painful, and mandatory initiation into a superior life. Subscribe now, because the man you were had to die so the man you needed to be could finally live.